and welcome to Season 3, Episode 17 of Fortnightly Frontier Podcast with Myre and Darjanator. Is that how you do your name?
Darjanator.
Darjanator.
Yeah, there we go.
There you go. I'm the worst at names, like, literally the worst.
Well, considering, it's not an English name, so it's fine.
I'm just bad with names. Even, like, Steve is a problem with me. I mean, that's pretty English.
just a little bit English, yeah. So, welcome.
So we've covered me.
Yes.
So who are you?
Who are you?
Who am I?
Yeah.
I'm BoredGamer. I do YouTubes and streaming for Star Citizens.
Do you? Yes, you do. Of course you do. It's a bit silly because everybody in chat probably knows you a lot more than they know us.
Indeed.
No. Everyone's very kind, and I know that I've hoarded myself out a lot on the social media and other people's channels and stuff, and I try and put myself anywhere I can. But there's loads of other great content creators out there, and I'm sure that most of the audience here are for you. It's your channel, your stuff, but I do appreciate the kind words, though.
Your presence doesn't hurt.
No.
Thank you.
But yeah, dude, welcome to the channel, dude. Thank you so much for dropping by.
Thanks for having me, my mate. It's good to see you again.
All right, so we're not going to talk about Star Citizen just yet. We're going to jump on you right now and ask you questions about yourself. This is actually an interview.
Cool. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I guess my first question to you is, how did you come about the name BoredGamer?
So after I left doing chef work and kitchens and stuff, I decided I wanted to do a YouTube channel, and I went through a couple of weeks of like brainstorming and planning out what I was planning to do, and I wanted a semi-neutral name, being able to cover LARP, board games, PC games, and general everything geekery. The original idea, and BoredGamer was the best one I came up with in the brainstorming.
How long did the brainstorming take?
It was just a couple of weeks. While I was
Just a couple of weeks.
Stuff. planning other stuff on the channel and stuff as well.
You had a focus group.
Well, basically, I asked all my friends and stuff, and then what names they liked.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So what are you doing right now as sort of projects and YouTube stuff? I mean, you just started streaming.
Yep.
Yeah,
So,
but you've been doing YouTube mostly, so anything specific you're doing right now?
just general videos from day to day on Star Citizen. I have a giant list of videos, plans, semi-finished scripts, and like updates and stuff. And basically, every day, for the YouTube stuff, I look at a list and I go, "Is this the most relevant thing to make a video about today? Yes or no?" Or sometimes it's a little bit more driven by, "I fancy doing a video on this." And normally I've got a load of stuff already planned for a load of for any particular given subject or videos, which I can just look and go, "Oh great, I've got all these assets, all these films, all of these ideas already," and I just elaborate on that, and I can, like, over 2 or 3 hours, I can make a video, like the script for it, and then film it pretty quickly now, a quick turnaround. But projects wise, it's literally that, loads of half done ones, that they get finished off on a day, like on a whim.
So you started off your kind of like a content creation career on YouTube, but as people may know, you've started now moving on to streaming. So which one did you start streaming on first? And because I know YouTube now has a streaming platform, did you start streaming on on YouTube first, or did you start streaming on Twitch straight away?
Technically, I streamed a long time ago, just like a couple of times.
Right.
But I'm quite erratic as a person, so I was like, I don't like this. This is uncomfortable. So I stopped streaming. That's when I was very, very, very early on. But now, it was Twitch. It was Twitch first.
Okay.
And today I streamed on YouTube as well. And I think last session I did YouTube as well. But I also do Beam, Hitbox, loads of random ones, because I use a service called Stream.io or Restream.io and just output to all of them.
Right. Oh, so you output to all at the same time?
Yeah.
That is pretty epic. I didn't realize that was a thing, because I was going to say, how do you handle, using smaller platforms like Beam and stuff? How do you handle, working with all the different, little communities that you'll kind of accrue with the different ones? So, but I'm guessing.
So.
Yeah.
Single chat program.
Okay.
All the chats go into it. You read it. It shows different symbols what chat is from. You just reply to all of them, and then when you type back to a chat, you can reply to all your channels simultaneously when you type.
That is ridiculous. That's really cool, actually.
You're only streaming to Restream.io, and they're streaming to everywhere else for you.
So it's not even messing up your upload either. Yeah. It's being handled.
A couple of seconds
else.
extra latency, but it's very minimal extra.
Right.
Okay. Really good.
And is there any platform that you prefer right now? Is there any one that you're getting most feedback from?
I'm most comfortable with Twitch because it's how one of the ways I built my community was getting involved with as many Twitch streamers as possible and chatting to them. So I'm really good with the Twitch chat, or at least I know the Twitch chat and the HUD and everything. I like that.
Right.
And I'm getting my head around YouTube's at the moment because for me, if you're a YouTube content creator and you're going to streaming, you basically bring your audience with you when you stream. They see it appear on YouTube. So it's smart to stream on YouTube as well. So yeah.
And from what I saw, it was actually a lot higher quality on YouTube than it was on Twitch.
Well, that's what people say. It's because I don't have the source button yet because I'm not partnered on Twitch.
Yeah, I suppose that would be right, yeah.
I don't think I'd ever want to be partnered because then apparently if you're partnered, you can't stream on multiple things.
For real?
I definitely want to stream on YouTube at the same time.
Okay.
That's what someone said to me. That might not be correct. But I'd rather just get a source button so people can change the quality of my stream on Twitch, and then I'll keep streaming to everywhere.
Cool.
Through the magic of the interwebs, yes.
I fucking love the interwebs, mate. Interwebs are the best.
I learned something today. That's awesome.
Yeah, cool. Maybe the future of Myre_test streaming.
Or help support the YouTube channel more. If you've got a YouTube channel and you want to promote that, streaming on the YouTube platform as well as Twitch helps.
Excellent. Cool.
Oh, cool. Great. And you're also associated with another podcast, aren't you?
Am I? Yeah. So, obviously, I'm one of the founding members of what is now become the content creator community Redacted. And yeah, so it's that podcast is me, Twerk, and Saurus. But the idea is that the content community group is pretty friendly. You all work together, in the same way that Test is a corporation and that works together with their streaming and YouTube guys. That section of it is what Redacted is supposed to be.
Right. So, can you explain more about Redacted for us? Because, what is your part specifically in Redacted and stuff like that? Because, every week we see Twerk, we see Saurus, and we see yourself. Do you guys work? Are you like the triumvirate, or are you just a content creator that's a part of it, or did you help start it up? I mean, I'm kind of clueless myself. Okay.
Yeah, so I helped start it up in its current form.
Right.
Originally, the Redacted brand, as it were, was Saurus's, and Twerk's. They got together to do a podcast together,
right?
And it was very isolationist in a sense of a podcast. I mean, that's probably the wrong term, but it was their podcast. Boom.
Right.
So what we've done is when I came in after being on Starcast and that sort of thing, and poured myself out on loads of other podcasts, I wanted a podcast of my own. But I talked to Twerk and Saurus, and they went, we'd be honoured to kind of have you. It'd be awesome. I was like, oh, cool. And it's a really nice with that podcast. It's a really nice combination of us knowing each other because we are very different personalities and we all balance each other. I feel on that actual podcast because we've got very extreme opinions on things and sometimes we argue, but.
Yeah, it's quite funny to watch.
Yeah. Sometimes we properly argue. They're like, "You're wrong."
Yeah, it's like mom and dad are fighting.
Yeah, well, that's it, isn't it? That's what it feels like a lot of the time. Mum and dad are fighting. But in the Redacted community, as a larger whole, it's my role is to look after the YouTube channels and to make sure that they're getting as much support as they want. Nothing. The streaming guys are much more focused and managerial, so they are Saurus is helping them do their thing.
Yeah.
But the YouTube stuff I'm much more laid back about. I'm sort of here are the latest tags. Here's what you should be doing. I've looked at your channels. This is great. This is bad. Whatever. These are my opinions. Do what you want. Let's have a meeting. Only Noobifiers turned up, but it's fine. That sort of thing. Seeing the inner workings. But yeah. So that's my job basically in a nutshell.
Okay. Awesome.
Do you have you do have a job, right? This isn't this is something you do 24/7.
No, this is my only job now.
This is your only job.
I'm also the carer for my brother as well.
I see. Okay.
That's pretty cool, man. So, like before Star Citizen, like some people tend to forget that there was a time before Star Citizen. Like what games have you played before that? I mean, like what kind of gamer would you ascribe yourself to? Like
Quite ragey.
ragey.
Yeah, well, I mean, some stuff rages me out. Like I won't play Overwatch at the moment because it raged me too much.
Right.
But so I played loads of Titanfall. I played Evolve before that, or after that. I'm not sure which one came first now. I used to play loads of Half-Life 2, Half-Life. Really into strategy games. I played loads of Diablo 3. I kind of play anything that I think's fun. I love MMOs or games that have significant multiplayer aspects to them. So as long as it's multiplayer, I love playing it, basically. But Titanfall was probably one of my favourite games that's come out in the last few years. I'm really looking forward to Titanfall 2.
Oh, tell me about it, dude.
Yeah.
I think I actually will pick that one up. I didn't pick up Titanfall just because I'm like a complete opposite to you. I have to have a single player aspect to it. I have to have a good story, and so it's not just a series of arena matches like Titanfall ended up being.
I don't want a series of arena matches either. It needs to have a bit more depth, unless it's Dota. So Dota's probably the game I've played the most of. I've got many hours in Dota. But yeah, I totally know what you're saying about arena matches being repetitive.
Yeah.
It's so rare for me to have a single player game that I like anymore. Like Event Zero and some indie games that I've played recently are okay, but they only last a couple of hours and then they're done.
Yeah.
Darkest Dungeon, stuff like that were really good, but BioShock, and System Shock games, all those range of games, I love their single player. They're fucking amazing. But,
and Half-Life 2, of course, as you mentioned.
Half-Life 2.
That is by far still my favorite game ever. Even though it's now getting on to 10 years, even more.
2004
was it, or 7? Could have been
4
4
or 7.
I'm not too
I think
sure.
it was 4.
Wow.
Speaking of BioShock, though, I mean, like, I'm not sure when the last time you played it, but if you bought it on Steam, go check your library, because if you played it a long time ago, if you own it,
Physical
like,
copies.
you can get the remastered copies now for free just by going to Steam, which is kind of cool.
I'm pretty sure I tried to put my Steam key. I tried to put the keys in
Yeah.
my original copies, and they're not Steam keys.
Oh man.
Maybe you have to preface it with "Would you kindly."
Would you kindly?
See that was amazing.
I know that was such a mindfuck. I needed to replay the game as soon as I finished it, just because of that, and then I realized, yeah.
Such a good story.
Yeah,
It's
I
such a
know.
good story. Oh,
All of them are. All the Shock game stories are just freaking
Are
phenomenal.
shocking.
I mean, so System Shock 2, you could play multiplayer. I used to play that multiplayer like 15 years ago or something. It was stupid. That was such a good game.
So,
Right. So going back a bit, well, on topic, how did you hear about Star Citizen?
So one of my mates, Chris, just randomly said, "Have you seen this game, Star Citizen?" That's the first time I ever heard of it. I had a look at it and went, "Oh, that's pretty cool. I'll buy myself an Avenger." But then my mate Wes, who I do a lot and role play with, who's a very good, very good friend, was like, "I've spent $3,000 on ships." Like, what's this? And he was talking to me about his Idris and stuff. And I was like, okay, well, if he's into it, it's probably going to be pretty good. So he originally got me into like MechWarrior Online, and he was MLG Pro at that game, and I was like, oh, I quite like MechWarrior games. This is cool. And he went, "Oh, have you seen this game, Star Citizen?" All that sort of stuff. And I was like, "I've heard of it." And yeah, so my obsession with it started with it when I realised other people were passionate about it. And
Right.
I went, okay, so people I respect like it. I'll look at it. And then I went, no one is covering this game. No one is covering this game. Why are they not covering this game? I can do the YouTubes. That's basically how my channel started.
Right.
That's
And
amazing.
thank you for answering our next question.
Yeah. You can see it in front of me. You can see it there, mate.
Yeah, we're getting connected. It's only been like 15 minutes, and we're already syncing up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you play anything else right now apart from Star Citizen?
So I've been playing loads of 7 Days to Die with a group of mates. I might see some videos on that later, or at least highlights videos, or maybe another YouTube channel with like survival and co-op games on it. I might do. Yeah, 7 Days to Die, really really fun. I love survival games like Rust and 7 Days to Die and that sort of stuff. So Don't Starve, all those kind of games. As long as
Right.
they're co-op or multiplayer, I love them.
So, like, did you actually, you said that, no one was making content for Star Citizen. I can do this. But did you have a YouTube channel? I mean, like, how did you know you had the skills to do it? I mean, like, you said that you moved into content creation after your cooking job. Like,
Mhm.
were you already like pretty well established into YouTube before you moved to Star Citizen, or was Star Citizen what you would say made you a more serious YouTuber? And
Yeah, so I started with Diablo 3, and I started off as just like doing multiple games and finding my feet and learning how to edit.
right,
Just knowing that my videos were going to be trash, and just went, I'll play them anyway. Sort of gameplay, chat, learn to edit for the first like 6 months.
right,
And then I started making Diablo 3 videos because I was really into Diablo 3, and I got lots of views. I mean, like hundreds of thousands on videos.
right.
And I went, well, people like the fact I do tiny guides. I did guides that were 2 minutes long,
Hmm.
explaining how to do everything, and then just done. Boom. See you later.
Yeah.
And then I did some stuff on Titanfall, and then um, slowly started to move into Star Citizen.
Hmm.
Just when I realised people weren't covering it, so I started doing news on it. I did a little bit of gameplay and talking about it. While I was also at the same time doing VR stuff. I was doing loads of stuff with the Oculus Rift DK2, getting it working with loads of games. So Star Citizen and VR really kickstarted my channel from 1,000 subs to like 20, 30,000.
Where are you right now?
Um,
You're almost 50,000, if I
just about to
remember
hit
correctly.
50,000. I
Yeah,
am
man.
aiming for my 100,000 silver play button by the end of January. If because I think that Christmas is going to be big. That's purely based on that
Yeah.
assumption.
Yeah.
Um,
Like
so,
that's cool, man. That's cool.
but it's you guys and everyone that's in the chat and everyone that watches me and everything that's like genuinely be supported me like through hell and various other places. People, yeah, I've been through a reasonable amount of hell in the last couple of years, and you guys have been so supportive and awesome, and yeah, I just really really appreciate the community. I think it's amazing. Thank you.
Best damn community ever.
Well, yeah, genuinely are. I mean,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have stuck around in Star Citizen. Star Citizen's not going to make as much money as me covering other games, more popular games and hyped games.
Yeah.
It's
And finished games.
and finished games. The best thing would do would be to cover those games and then go back to Star Citizen when Star Citizen's closer to release, or only do it during hype phases. But I love the game. I want to be one of the most knowledgeable people about the game.
Yeah.
And I just fucking love it. I love the idea of it so much. I get bored with the game so quickly and so easily.
Hence the
And
name.
this is well, yeah, I mean that's
Yeah.
definitely one of the things. I do get bored very easily, but this has held my attention in its current state for such a long time that the finished game is going to be, going to be mind blowing for me.
So, what are you looking forward to most in Star Citizen then? I mean, like, everybody loves the game, like they love, I think with games that are in development. Now I know, like, with Star Citizen, like they're pretty open as to where they want things to go, but at the same time, as a fan of an unfinished game, you kind of have this. Now, forgive me if this is the wrong use of the word, but like headcanon as to what you think they're gonna be doing. Like
Yeah, definitely,
yeah,
definitely. I know exactly what you mean.
yeah. So like
Yeah, and theory crafting can go
exactly.
really,
It goes
off the
wild.
hook.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
so
everyone has totally their own different opinion of exactly what
Yeah.
that game's going to be in their own head.
until it comes out. But like
Yeah.
to you, what are you looking forward to doing in Star Citizen? So I know you're gonna be you're gonna keep making all these, like, these helpful tutorials, these guides, like but not specifically what are you going to be doing with YouTube, but as a gamer playing Star Citizen, what are you most looking forward to in the game?
Well, there's two things really. I mean, I'm an economy player by heart. I love making money. I love seeing like the currency trickle in. Loved it in Eve. Loved mining in Eve. So for Star Citizen, it's very much going to be learning how cargo, trade, science, any form of industrial activity, mining, all that sort of jazz, how that all works, how you can make money from that,
Right.
and what's the most effective way of making money, and going from there, really. If
Right.
it's strip mining in Orions, I'm going to be doing that. I'm going to be chilling out, doing that, chatting, working out other things that I can be making money from, or hiring NPCs and other players, how I can be making money for myself using that.
Right.
But the most exciting thing, other than just that's what generally what I'll be doing and having fun with, is massive fleet battles with shipboarding.
Oh yeah.
The idea of that level of combined arms, where you're on board a ship, you're flying around in a dogfighter, you're capturing a capital ship that's currently in a fight with other Marines. That level of communication and mixture of PvE and PvP, because you'll be fighting other players, you'll be fighting NPCs. It's just insane. It's just like, this is what I've wanted for so long, and other games have attempted to replicate aspects of it, but they've never done it all together.
Right.
And that kind of homogenizing it all as one, I think that's the right word I'm looking for. It is what I've wanted for so long, and nothing's really delivered that yet. So I'm hoping that this does.
So I probably will have to be on the lookout for Board Gamer and his posse when I'm flying around in my carrack, just minding my own business and then getting boarded.
No. So unless you're a pirate, so I will be role playing in the verse to some degree.
Okay.
With a group of guys called No Man Black, who are my real life mates that I do role playing stuff with. A lot of them.
Okay.
So we're planning to run like a reasonably large org. We've got a lot of capital ships and stuff between us. But we're going to run it like a Roman forum. Everyone gets a vote, no matter what level you're at. Everyone's the same, effectively. And we're planning to run the game like that. But we are going to be militia, and we're going to be protecting the fringes. We are going to be lawful. So we won't randomly attack people. If there's pirates, we might use them to fight Vandal if we can.
Right.
We'll only attack pirates if they're attacking the worlds or our traders or whatever. So
right. Okay. Yeah. Cool.
So we're not dicks, but we're not super good. But we're not going to attack anyone.
Cool.
Awesome.
Have you been doing anything specific in Star Citizen this week? Anything just grinding Rec or Alpha UC in 2.5?
No. I mean, I've just been looking at all the different like ships and stuff, because we've been getting those. We had last week. We had the combat ships, the Warden and the Super Hornet. And now we've got the Retaliator and the Gladiator. I haven't used a Gladiator in like about a year, I think. So I jumped into that today, but nothing in particular. I mean, I look at all aspects of Star Citizen constantly. I try a little bit of everything. I'm very active on the issue council, although don't really report many bugs, just kind of upvote other bugs that I've seen, add to them. I find it really hard to report a bug because everyone's got there before I have.
That's true. Yeah.
But you can always upvote and stuff.
Yeah. You need to find...
that's my excuse why I'm not an avocado, because everybody gets to it before me and I just do, got that one.
You can get avocado status just from upvoting and adding to things, and you can identify invalid ones.
Right.
Invalid ones is a really important one because you don't want 1,000 tickets for the same thing.
Yeah.
And a lot of problems can, for example, I've caused a lot of issues, which I have now put on my user.cfgs and stuff. People were reporting bugs that my user.cfgs caused as issues on the issue council, which obviously
doesn't really.
Now there's a disclaimer and stuff. They're saying this can cause issues with. Remove this before reporting.
Speaking of, what is this user.cfg customization you speak of?
So, obviously, I play a lot of Star Citizen, and I'm a bit of a tweaker. I'm not like the most intelligent person when it comes to tweaking stuff online or on my computer or whatever. My superpower, if anything, is researching. And I'm very good at just sitting down and researching something until I understand it. So, with the user.cfg stuff, it's literally, you can customize CryEngine games with the user.cfg to change settings in the graphics menu and stuff that aren't necessarily in game yet. But that combined with a performance guide that I've done will make your Star Citizen experience significantly better in most cases, like significantly. I can get up to 60 frames per second in the mini PU, and I'm normally around 45 to 55 almost always. It sometimes drops to 30, but I never have the problems that other people do with frame rates. It's going.
That's pretty cool. So I mean, I've always been told that the frame rate issues are to do with server FPS, kind of grinding things down. But you're saying
So
that
it's a mixture of server bound, network bound, and CPU bound. But there's stuff that you can do yourself to alleviate that. Only certain areas should be cut down to severe frames. Like normally when you're near landing pads, I found I get 30 frames, just
right.
even if there's no one around. And then when I move off to talk to Tessa at the ICC mission probe, back up to 60. Around Grim Hex between 45 and 60.
Okay.
Dang,
so-
I'm gonna have to, because I did apply a few fixes, and especially deleting the splash files, but that just kind of broke my game. Because for some reason,
sorry to hear that.
for some reason, my friend list wouldn't work anymore.
Yeah, some
Right.
people had weird problems with deleting the splash files for quicker loading. That their
Yeah,
the friends wouldn't load, and that they couldn't get into Arena Commander properly.
but it just seems so unrelated to all of these
Yep.
things.
I actually found that the friends not loading thing wasn't to do with the splash files dodge, but like when I go in vanilla, yeah, I found out when I go into the hangar and I open up my my contacts list in the hangar, in Arena Commander, no friends. But if I go into the lobby, then all my friends show up. I mean, into the main menu, then my friends show up. So I'm thinking that people are reporting BoredGamer CFG file as the culprit, falsely, because it happens to me as well. I think it's just a 2.5 thing.
Thanks, man.
I see.
BoredGamer is perfect. What are you talking about?
But just quickly, what are some of the things that you can adjust with the user CFG that you're not able to in game?
Let me give you examples. Let me open it up here to give some better examples. You can, oh my god, the anti-aliasing stuff. You can turn on loads of stuff to do with amount of memory your graphics card and CP and PC uses. Loads of different motion blur settings. So you can turn off depth of field. You can turn off motion blur, which I hate. Hate motion blur. I know some people like it on. I hate it. Chromatic abrasion. You can do stuff with multiple monitors. You can mess around with tessellation. There's loads of stuff you can do.
Wow.
Most of it is higher level stuff, which you need to fiddle around with and understand before you change randomly, because otherwise you're gonna get bugs. Otherwise you're not gonna have a good time. But it's all there. And there's loads more settings that I haven't put in them user.cfg because they're so specific to certain situations that they're just going to cause more confusion than anything else.
Right.
Though I'll probably add a sort of like click here for super secret settings soon, something like that. I'm worried that I genuinely am worried that people will be misreporting bugs on the issue council, and that it can cause issues. So if you do have an issue and you are using a user.cfg or you're using someone's shader pack or something like that, remove that first before reporting. Like, remove it, see
Definitely,
if you can repeat
yeah.
the bug.
So, speaking of super secret settings, so I know that the life of a YouTuber can tend to be, especially one that's trying to give information and stuff like that, tends to be quite secretive, because the worst thing that can happen to you is if another YouTuber was to make a video of the same topic before you do, kind of making your work more irrelevant. It works it works very similar to just scientific journals and stuff like that as well. Regardless, do you have any upcoming projects and stuff that you can talk about that you can kind of veto your personal NDA for on this stream?
Not really. I mean, as I said, it's literally giant list of things.
Right.
I do want to whim based on what's been happening in the news and that sort of stuff.
Okay.
But also, Myre, I totally disagree with you.
Oh yeah.
I totally disagree with you. I'm happy for any other YouTubers, whether it be someone in my team or someone outside of my team, to do exactly the same sort of video I'm doing or whatever. People are not just there because it's the Star Citizen news. They want your opinion on it. They like the way you do it. They like flair about it. Like whatever. There is room enough in the community for everyone to do very similar content, just in their own way. As long as they're not directly re-uploading either word for word or the exact same videos, that's fine. I mean, there's definitely room for it. I mean, we're in a stage before the giant YouTubers come in.
Yeah.
The Star Citizen. As soon as they can smell money, The big YouTubers will be here. That's why they haven't started playing it.
Yeah.
They're not here for the love. They're not here because they're really interested. They're here because
Yeah.
it makes them money. It's their full-time job.
It's their
There's
livelihood,
nothing
yeah.
wrong. Yeah, it's their livelihood, and there's nothing wrong with them that's smelling the money. I mean, that's where they go. That's how they expand their communities and stuff as well.
Yeah.
So, at the moment, it's not viable for them to come over to Star Citizen. But when it is, a lot of us are gonna wish we worked together more.
Yeah.
And people need to leave their egos at the door. People aren't stealing your views. People can do the same content. Everyone helps each other by getting a larger viewer base. No one's not going to watch your video because they've already seen someone else do a similar video. They're going to want to see if you've said something different, if there's something that they've done quicker. I've done guides on how to get to Grimhex really quick, but other people have refined them and made slightly different versions. They've come from a different route.
Yeah.
They've got different ideas. I mean, some of the guide stuff, yeah, you're like, oh, I wish I had done this guide, because there's no way I can do the same video without pretty much copying him word for word.
Yeah.
But there's loads of other stuff to be doing. There's gameplay, there's news, there's opinions on stuff, there's other things that you can be finding, refining guides, loads of stuff. So everyone is welcome. No one's stepping on each other's toes. And people that are thinking that, don't work with them.
Right.
just don't work with them.
Don't work with Myre.
just don't work with mine. But you know what I mean? If they,
I'm glad
if
to
they've
hear you
got-
say that anyway.
Yeah.
You know, I'm really glad. Yeah. I can,
And speaking of
I love-
opinions, something wonderful was released a few days ago. It was the what is it called? The vision stabilization for
yeah.
FPS.
Yeah.
What is your opinion on that compared to what FPS is like now?
I mean, it showed us some amazing stuff. It had silky frame rates. I think it's the first video I've ever seen that's 60 frames that CIG have produced.
That's true, actually. Yeah.
Because I was just like, is this 60 frames a second? Oh my god, it fucking is.
It's actually one of the either the Bishop speech or the Old Man review. One of those was 60 as well.
Oh, okay, cool. That's good to know.
Just
Well done. That's a really good fact. Like, pow! No, board, you're wrong. There was one more.
it's
no,
what I do best, correcting
good man,
people.
Good man. I like it. But yeah, so obviously it reduces the head bob significantly. It made everything look and feel fluid. I didn't like the motion blur in the background, and I hope that's not an essential feature of it.
Probably not. No.
Yeah, indeed. Probably not. But we saw AI firing guns on the ground.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
We
There
saw
was- there was
audio
so
warnings.
much. Yeah.
Yeah, we saw audio warnings so that the NPCs knew that something was happening. You were able to kill shopkeepers. And other than the obvious physics and the coolness of the general FPS combat, of just going, and it didn't cause its frame rate to go to 0, which was incredibly impressive.
Yeah.
That was smooth. We saw a little bit of Tampa's Depot as the doors opened.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
And I think that's the last we see it, because they're just gonna close it because they don't want their shopkeepers getting shot.
They'll use that as an excuse. Yeah.
If they enforce a system where you have to leave your weapons in the lockers, and there's security and stuff like that around the stations.
Yeah.
Automated
think the shopkeepers
turrets, like in say the Fifth Element, just
if
drop
there's-
down and just point at you. Don't
So-
you dare!
That's fine, but then there needs to still be a way to, because of Star Citizen, there needs to be
Yeah.
a way to avoid them. There needs to be a way of turning them off. There needs to be a way of getting around them somehow, so that you could, if you planned a murder on someone really well or an assassination,
Yeah.
you could pull it off if you were a mixture of lucky and super planned.
Well, you see, I can see that happening because I've seen that in my mind's eye happening since 2.0 when we got into Arc Corp for the first time, and you enter immigration, and there's a sign saying that weapons are strictly restricted unless you have a security level clearance of level 6 or above. So how I think that would work in the case of the test bed that is the baby PU is that as you do missions, the same way you have to do missions in order to get the security guard job, you'll have to do missions, and maybe it'll be more visual as to your progression. And once you get to a certain stage, then you'll be able to have access to basically brandish your weapon within Port Olisar. And anybody else has to leave them at the door. And I don't know. Maybe they might have to refactor OLSR again, just so that there's somewhere to stash your weapons or something as you enter or as you leave. But yeah.
So do you think there's going to be like dodgy dealers inside that will be able to like sell your weapon?
Yeah, smuggle your weapon, or like to spoof your credentials so you can bring a gun inside. It'll be really cool. I think the aim is to do away with armistice zones, as much as they can, because they're not really. I mean, like, what's to stop somebody from making an old school weapon that doesn't have Wi-Fi, so it doesn't know when it's in in armistice zones and stuff like that. So there needs to be a way of punishing people. I think. I mean, like, they'll have to test things like this, of course. But to me, I feel like let's say we're in like a new server, everybody is fine, you can use weapons in OLSR, people are generally okay just doing quests, and then somebody comes in and then just decides to go on a murder spree. Now, I think that they shouldn't allow people to go into murder sprees until subsumption is there, just so that we have NPCs just around, like NPC security that can react to people shooting and stuff if they are, like murdering, as opposed to somebody who has clearance to kill somebody who they have a mission to kill. But yeah. This is supposed to be an interview.
Well, I suppose in that situation as well, that people could go on murder sprees when the NPCs are there, and you could restrict their entry back into areas by saying you can't come back here for in the mini PU, you can't come back here for 30 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
Because you've killed 23 people.
Yeah.
But hopefully they'll have proper stuff in place with jail and prison and buying your way out and restrictions for other bits and bobs. And you're no longer a citizen. You murdered 32 NPCs.
Yeah.
I do wonder how they'll do it, because the stuff like in GTA is just too easy on you. There's no proper consequence to your actions. So, but if they just bring it like too harsh consequences, like you murder someone by accident and then you have to spend 2 hours in jail. Can't do anything
by accident.
It could happen.
I just pulled my pistol out and shot him 3 times in the head. Sorry.
Well, no. Let's say you're trying to land on the landing pad and you crash accidentally into another ship, and Star Citizen physics being as they are, both ships explode as soon as just going like that. What you gonna do then? Just play solitaire on your mobiGlass for 5 hours or what?
I suppose.
I think that they'll come up with ways to make sure that people that do mistakes aren't given the same kind of punishment as people that clearly murder people.
Yeah, exactly.
But
Killing
also,
one person back. Yeah, go on. Sorry.
I think that in the wider universe, you'll only be able to do the level of murder like once ever. Like, I've gone on a killing spree. Now I'm an outlaw, and I'm not going back to that planet ever again. I mean, so I think you're not going to get like murder trolls or anything like that. So I do think it will be restricted and kind of self-automated and kind of will work itself out.
I think
otherwise we'll have all the goons in a single system that nobody will ever go to.
That would be cool though. That would be amazing. If a system like freaking Hades becomes Goontown, and anybody that goes to Goontown, knows that things could happen that would mess things up for them. But in the case of the persistent universe, though, I think that with things like Death of a Spaceman and adequate repercussions for dying and stuff, people won't be so eager to kill and be killed. But in alpha, I guess things might have to be sterner, or more lenient, just so people can test, and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But at the FPS, that's supposed to come in 2.6, isn't it? Star Marine, the updated FPS thing.
So, are you thinking that we're going to get all of what we saw, or most of what we saw from that vision stabilization thing in 2.6?
I think we just might,
including Dumper's Depot.
Dumper's Depot. Well, that with it also brings in-game purchasing of components, and so I don't, maybe not. But I would say the FPS gunplay, I think we will see it even in Persistent Universe as well as Star Marine. But I just wanted to ask you something. In regards to 2.6 and beyond, is there anything that you're specifically looking forward that they're working on right now?
So after 2.6?
2.6 and after 2.6, yes.
was Star Marine in general, because I want to be able to play the FPS based stuff. It's very exciting for me. I want that boarding experience, so I want to be able to get good at shooting. But I suppose the actual main thing, although it's quite boring sounding, and is probably the most important thing for me. Oh, there's two things. Is the network code. So the new network code in 3.0, it needs to be there. I mean, the amount of times we've had to shoot someone 1,000 times with the shotgun and all that sort of stuff, and people glitching around and all that sort of stuff and just being desynced. That new network code needs to be there, it needs to work. That's what I'm looking forward to the most.
Oh, yeah.
But also VoIP.
Hailing. Hailing.
Yeah.
We got a hail from the incoming ship. Ignore it.
You got a party. You're on radios, and then if you take your helmet off, you got distance-based voice travel. Of course, without lips moving, because there's still no such technology available.
Yeah, there is. I mean, that technology was in Half-Life.
Yeah, I know.
So I'm hoping that at CitizenCon we'd see something awesome from VoIP.
Hopefully, yeah.
So there was a couple of interviews with Chris and one with Todd Pappy, I think, as well, where they kind of alluded to something quite awesome with VoIP being shown at CitizenCon, really exciting.
Do you by any chance on Reddit did you see the Interstellar Marines voice VoIP demo that they were doing for their game? Interstellar Marines being a work in progress. I think it's an alpha still.
Yeah, I've got the alpha of Interstellar Marines. I saw that post, but I didn't look at the video. What have they done?
So it is actually pretty freaking epic. Darj, do you want to explain?
Oh yeah, they it's just what I was talking about before. You had comms, radios, and then you have, when you take a helmet off, you got it would take the specifics of a room into it. So you got reverb and distant bass. So if you close a door, the voice would get muffled. Then you open the door again, you get a clear sound, stuff like that. And yeah, and it was all just for VoIP, and it wasn't just for audio that was pre-recorded for the game.
Yeah,
I think that's possibly we might get that for Star Citizen. The audio guys have talked about that's similar tech for what they're using for their sounds, not their voice. But definitely their sounds they are talking about. And when you have a door open, you can hear that coming from the door. When the door's closed, it's muffled or whatever. And I mean, a lot of that's going to just be filters, isn't it?
For sure.
And you would think that, in theory, it would basically just, instead of having a sound playing that it's already in game, you would have the VoIP coming from the person, just have it placed where the player is, and then have all the filters that would normally get applied to all the sounds playing in the level anyway, just apply to that voice, and there you go. That's in theory, but that's why I'm not a game programmer, because it all seems so clear in theory.
In theory,
I think game programmers have less of a fun time when they come to fantasize about what features they want in Star Citizen. So they look at very much sort of like what can be done in this situation. I don't want that. I want to think big. I don't care what's possible. I want more.
So do we.
Totally.
You mentioned CitizenCon. Are you going?
I will find out whether I'm going on Wednesday.
Awesome. So you haven't bought tickets yet or anything?
I've got a ticket.
Okay.
You have a ticket. Right. Okay. So what is the limiting factor that will prevent you from knowing until Wednesday?
I just literally might not be able to. That's what I'm saying about my limiting factors.
Fair enough.
Okay.
NDA. All right. So now we have some questions from chat. First question we have is sorry, my phone just did something really weird. Anyway,
it went bling.
Yeah, listen, I don't know. Anyway, Bristol Boy asks, what are your guys' opinion on the Terra file leak? Did you take a look?
Yeah, so I've had a look at the reconstruction of it, the second one. It looks pretty cool. I mean, obviously the guy that's is reconstructed it and painted it and done stuff to it. Looks cool. I mean,
yeah.
But I mean, it's not that amazing. It's a cool little silly. It's a cool little concept. I'm not sure exactly how it's going to be used as an asset. I think I need better context. Is what I need before I can think whether it's amazing or not.
Right.
It looks
Fair
pretty cool.
Yeah, it has to be a bit more than just being in a what is it, the little in browser 3D viewer. You need context.
I need context. It's exactly what it needs.
Where does it fit in? How are you going to be able to interact with it? Stuff like that.
It is huge, though.
I
mean,
is,
you have to give it that. Yeah.
Yeah, but it could just be like for a background sky texture on stuff, or it could be just as a this is where everything's going to be, so to make sure that people travel around the city properly. I mean, we don't know how it's used, if it's just for artists. There's no context there for me to go, this is amazing because. It's just,
Fair enough.
Looks cool.
Right.
Sorry to be a downer on that. It's just lack of context has
cool.
confused my brain.
Brimstone666 says, I love these kind of podcasts when you have about 3 or 4 people chatting in Star Citizen. Please ask BoredGamer how Redacted gets uploaded to Pocket Casts. Great app to download these shows to listen to later. Oh, was that a question? Or anyway, apparently you have to pay for SoundCloud, Darj, to download it. I guess it was more of a suggestion than a question. Anyway.
I didn't realise. I don't know. I'll have a look at Pocket Casts. I'll have a look. Feel free to message me privately about anything like that. I'm still confused.
Yeah. Well, the way we do it is I just use SoundCloud as a hosting for podcasts, and then it gets picked up by Google Play, and then that's basically our main source of distribution for people who just want to listen to us. But otherwise, it's YouTube.
Right.
I should probably link it to Google Play. I mean, we've got SoundCloud. I've got a paid version of SoundCloud, and I put it on iPhone stuff. The Apple Store thing.
The iTunes thingies.
That's the one. iTunes. I'm not down with the hip kids anymore.
It's basically the same thing. You go to the SoundCloud RSS generation thingy, and then you just copy the link and paste it into whatever. All
right. Hartford asks, does the test community or just Star Citizen communities in general just focus on Star Citizen or undeveloped games, or do you do other games? Do you focus on other games? Any sections where you focus on other games like Civilization 5, etc.? I think for the most part, so first of all, Harvey, welcome to our community. Basically, there are several gaming communities that cover Star Citizen in general, and we all talk to each other and socialize. There's Test Gaming and Test Squad, which is part of an organization in Star Citizen. We have Redacted and we have Bad News Gaming, and within that we have a whole bunch of content creators. Now, what we have in common, of course, is that we all we're all backed into this whole Star Citizen thing. But people do other things. I think BoredGamer, for the most part, it focuses primarily on Star Citizen. Am I correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but we do, other people, you come to my stream, we do something differently sometimes, but for the most part, we are primarily Star Citizens. If you check out Redacted, or, go to redacted.tv, or click on that link up the top there, that's Test Gaming, you'll be able to see, like a whole list of different content creators, and, we're all part of the same family, really. Yeah.
Indeed.
Sorry, that was that question was more asked, directed towards Test, so I had to answer that. Sorry. Right, that's a re-question, and then somebody asks, when do you think we'll get to visit Terra? Not just first look, but actually play BoredGamer.
Midway through next year, maybe, if we're lucky. It'd be like 3.5 sort of thing.
Or maybe even 4.
Maybe even 4. Yeah,
because with 3.0 we're getting the entire Stanton system, and then with the next version, with that, we're also getting NICs, which are connected via jump points, and they will have 2 systems, and it'll be quite a while still before we get so many systems that Terra is also included.
I think once they've got to a certain point, it's actually quite easy for them to roll out meat and content for the systems. It's just the creation of those hero zones, so like the statues and the specific landing spots and stuff, like Terra. That's the thing that's going to take the longest time for the persistent universe. Because everything else there will kind of be there or working, or can be modded to work, or can be retextured or shaded, but those hero zones are unique.
Yeah. I wonder how many planets they can actually make in the time it's gonna take to make Terra, just the landing zone.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think you probably get quite a few planets out in the same time. So.
Watchum90 asks, what kind of mods are you interested in, like implementing Spotify to your ship? That'd be cool.
Like the Drake commercial, right? The Drake Cutlass commercial where she like goes to Samba or whatever, and like that. I think that'd be cool. Bored, you look deep in thought.
Yeah, so the most useful thing I can think of at the moment, other than a TripAdvisor app literally telling me how good other players are, and sort of like, so I look at a crew, and I look at this guy and have a look at his TripAdvisor, and say, no, he's a dick. The only other thing I'd really like an app or a mod or whatever, would be able to see in this, like in Dark Souls or whatever, where people have like left notes on the ground. I'd like to see that on a HUD around like asteroid fields and things. If I turn it on, I can see loads of notes from people.
Like warning beacons.
Or whatever, yeah. Warning beacons, advice, tips, leaving notes for other people, leaving notes for whatever. I like that kind of public system. Where it's kind of, especially in like the lawful areas, you're going to get loads of people being relatively helpful. In the more lawless zones, you're going to be people drawing ASCII dicks and things. But I mean, it all adds to something that gives you more information. If you go, oh, someone's left an ASCII dick, someone has been here for a reason, leaving that message. So it's all an information game for me.
Yeah, God forbid you can actually drop audio logs because it's a sci-fi game.
I mean, that would be absolutely amazing.
And terrible at the same time, because at one point, you might find a crashed ship, and somebody might be heavily into roleplay, and you find the audio log. It's like, captain's log. We have just found this thing, and it's glowing, and and he dies. And on the other hand, you could just find music or some guy screaming,
Rick-rolling.
Yeah, exactly.
Just constant Rick-rolling in every ship.
Yo, back to the hailing though. That's something I'm gonna have to do now. Like, I'm gonna have to hail somebody. They're going to have to accept, and I'm going to rickroll them. It's going to be my thing.
As loud as you can.
As loud as I can. Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say, no, you remove all the spotlights from your ship and install huge speakers, but then sound doesn't travel through space. Or does it?
Dun, dun, dun.
To be Lost LT asks, when can we expect travel between systems, and how it will be in point of view of jump points and stuff. I think when questions are kind of odd because, like, we're not like members of CIG in development, so we can really only just speculate about these things. They did mention, however, that we'll be expected to be able to jump not in between systems, so jump points, but within the Stanton system by 3.0.
And that's hopefully this year.
Yeah, but to humor to be last, Board Gamer, when do you think we'll be able to travel to another star system?
So, I mean, after they've got 3.0 out, they'll do some form of weird patch with 3.1, and then I think anywhere between 3.2 and 3.5, we could possibly see a jump point, because they're going to want to test out the jump point mechanics of whatever mini game they've got in their heads. They're going to want to test that out. So I suspect we'll see some form of jump point-esque thing. Yeah, between...
The concept for it looks amazing.
It does, doesn't it?
But also very dangerous.
Explaining, that's my favourite thing in the world. Him explaining how wormholes work. I hope he did that to an artist. Makes sense?
Yep. Yeah, well, you can just imagine Chris going up to a concept artist and going, I think Chris Olivia in this specific case, and just going, I want like this.
I want this.
And then he comes up with what he did, that epic video of the huge liquidy wormhole thingy.
Yeah.
So maybe it works,
Maybe. Lastly, guys, Roosmash asks, Myre, did you guys already discuss the Drake Herald? What are your thoughts? So, Board Game, what are your thoughts on the Drake Herald?
I mean, it looks like a cool ship. I like the fact it's going to be super fast in a single direction. It's gonna have I like the idea of the Drake Herald. And I'm an economy player, so if there's money to be made and it's a cool job role, yeah, I mean it looks awesome compared to what it used to. I quite liked its asymmetrical look, but now it looks pretty, like a pretty tick. Is there any way I can describe it?
With mustard up its bottom.
Yeah,
Quite.
But, I want to see that info runner mechanic again. The ship looks cool though, and I like the idea of it as a drag racer.
Right.
Cool. I love Drake though. I mean, I'm a proper Drake fanboy.
Yeah, just imagine buying a full Drake Herald ship with all the data suites and everything, and then just dropping all those out and taking it to the drag strip.
Yeah,
just because you want to race.
I hope with the idea of drag racing, they're intending to tweak the flight system a little bit more. Otherwise, drag racing will be no much more than a reaction test where some bot goes 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, flick the throttle to max. Have I won? I hope that there'll be like a gear system where you need to switch the gear, make sure that you don't over rev, per se, whatever the ships do, so you don't overheat and burst something and breach something.
I think there'll be lots of slides as well. I think there never would just be a straight drag race in space.
Right.
But I think that in 2.6 that you're gonna get the first taste of what racing can be like. I think that they're gonna have that tweaked flight model. Hopefully that has in mind with racing, because I also think in 2.6 we're getting that non-instantized Grim Hex slalom race.
Right.
We might get an instantized one as well, but I think that Grim Hex race is just out in the mini persistent universe.
Oh yeah.
I think it'll also be a part of Arena Commander, just because they want proper crappy netcode-less racing, just so they can test out the actual map and not just the racing itself. Because you really can't do competitive racing at 15 frames per second, as cinematic as it may be.
Well, some of us don't get 15 frames per second.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So that brings us down to our quickfire questions. Darj, you want to start them off?
I shall start. What is your favorite caffeinated beverage?
Me?
Yes, you. Of course.
This is about you.
Just you. Yeah, go.
Black tea.
What is your favorite alcoholic beverage?
Oh, cider of some description. Depends on my mood.
Fair enough.
Cider.
What's your favorite Star Citizenship?
Okay, so it's currently pretty much joint between the Caterpillar and the Orion at the moment.
What is your favorite non-Star Citizenship?
What? Non-Star Citizenship?
Yeah.
Yes.
What kind of questions are these?
Quickfire questions.
Viper, probably from Battlestar.
Cool. Do you like snakes?
Yes. I'm kind of indifferent, but yeah, I like them. I think they're cool.
It's just a random question that's there. And lastly, Myre?
How about Twerk, Saurus, DJ Knight, Kiss, Marry, Kill.
Killsaurus. Don't have to think about that one. That's just done. Oh. Gonna marry Twerk. I love Twerk.
Trixie, you mean?
Trixie, yes.
Trixie.
No, Twerk.
No.
Fuck
Oh,
Trixie,
Twerk, okay.
Trixie's a bitch. But Twerk, I fucking love and adore Twerk. I think he's gonna be. I'm gonna try and convince him to do streaming more. I want him to do it full time. Hopefully, it won't ruin his life by going full time. And I love that chap. I think he's a really good chap. Yeah, I'll marry him. Twerk, I'll marry you. Twerk.
All right, gonna save that clip.
Oh
my god.
And lastly, where can we find you on the internet, as if everybody doesn't know already?
So on the social media, YouTubes and Twitch, it's all BoredGamerUK, as in I'm bored, BORD. But yeah, on Twitter it's the same. Just message me if anyone wants to talk to me about anything or support me with anything or has questions. Just message me. I'll do what I can to answer them. Nothing's too big or too small for anything. I mean, we're all part of the community. I love everyone. Anyone that thinks I'm really big or whatever, you're an idiot. I'm just same as you guys, at least at the moment. When the money and the power gets to me, maybe one day I'll be like, fuck you. But we're not there yet. So everyone's equal to me. Please talk to me. Give me ideas. I love you. Love you, Twerk.
And that is it for this week's episode, or this fortnight's episode of Fortnightly Frontier. I have been Darjanator. Over there on the other side has been Myre, and in between us, lovingly sandwiched between BoredGamerUK.
You're getting rubbed by Myre. Thanks. Thank you so much for having me, guys. Much appreciated.
No problem. Thank you for coming on the show, and we will see you in the verse.
Bye.